Welcome to the Wine Cage. I'm Dylan.
I'm Amanda.
And this is producer Wolfie. And tonight we are putting our taste buds on a plane and sending them over to the other side of this big country, to WA, to Margaret River, as we taste and try out this Cape Mentelle 16 Hectares Shiraz. Now, as far as why we picked this up, I think it might have just actually had a recommendation note on it. That may have been why. Price point wise, this one retailed at I think about 29 and we got it for about 25. So that was a factor. It's also winter and I don't know about you, but I'm craving the Shiraz and the heavier reds a bit more at the moment than the Pinots.
Yeah.
So where we were drinking Pinots a few months ago, maybe half the wines or more that we were having, we're now drinking predominantly Shiraz and some blends and yeah. So yeah, won't give any spoilers on this one. What do you think of the label design?
Well, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure Cape Mentelle is one of the bigger wineries in WA. I'd heard of it long before I started kind of getting into red wine.
Do you know anything about Cape Mentelle, the area? It's a cool name. We didn't go... Did we go there when we were there?
No, we didn't, but Margaret River is a large area. I think we mostly went to ones close to the town, but yeah. Anyway, I like the label. Given that it is a larger winery, it's not really a surprise that the label is a little bit more on the conservative side. We have reviewed some pretty crazy labels recently, which has been fun.
See our Citizen AI wine review of it'll be a couple of weeks ago by the time this one comes out, but you won't miss that one from the thumbnail.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's fine. But yeah, given that this one's a little bit more on the traditional side, it's very nice, it's very tasteful. I like the very tasteful copper foil deboss on these trees down here. There's a very nice sort of pattern behind them as well, which I guess is meant to hint at hills or something like that.
Yeah, do you reckon that's hills or hills or like clouds, like, wind and clouds?
Could be either or. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. That region's not super hilly.
Yeah, isn't it? So it looks to me like swirling clouds or wind or something.
Either way, it's very nice, very tasteful, very simple. Yeah, that's about all I can say.
Yeah, that's it. It's a pretty classic looking label, but it is also original. And one of the ways that I know if I find a label interesting, at least, is that I catch myself staring at it when we're drinking. And we, as you can see, this is empty. Had most of it last night. And I found myself while drinking and eating, just staring at the label, getting a bit lost in it. So, I mean, that's always a good sign. I don't love copper coloured. What's that, foil?
Foil.
But it's okay. It's interesting and it makes it glow and shine. And all this sort of swirly ink work in the background is quite nice. So, look, it's atmospheric, but also kind of safe and conservative in its design. It's a bit American Psycho with its with its typeface choice and the emboss and deboss or whatever it is.
Perhaps a little.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the presentation. Pretty good, solid presentation. Now to look at this one, it's sort of as you'd expect, pretty dense, hey?
Pretty dense, a little purpley, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A heavy-looking, deep purple Shiraz. What about the nose? What do you think about the smell of this one?
I think this has quite a nice nose. It's sort of warm, sort of chocolatey. Pick up a little bit of spice.
Yeah. I remember when we first cracked this last night. When we first smelt it, I think we both said, oh, this seems like it's going to be good.
Smells good, yeah.
And yeah, so my notes for the nose were just deep, dark fruits, dry, dusty, fresh, but promising. It's one of those aromas that when you smell it, you think, I'm pretty sure this is going to be good. Did that turn out to be the case? Let's see. So for me, with this one, the upfront note that I get, well, the first thing that hits you is spiciness. So a nice spice that's immediately followed by like a real dryness, and you get those deep, dark fruits. That's the main flavor in this. The first thing it made me think of was the Durifs that I've tried in Rutherglen. So Rutherglen's known for its Durifs. There's really heavy, sedimenty wines, and I've tasted a few of them there. And this, for a Shiraz, has that real Durif taste to it. I'm not sure exactly if there's a word for that Durif specific flavor, but I couldn't think of it anyway. But it has that sort of flavor. So it actually is a little bit different to a lot of the Shiraz that we usually drink. It's got a slightly different flavor to it. I was trying to come up with words like, licorice. I don't like licorice, so I'm hesitant to use that one. But anyway, it's this deep, dark fruit flavor. What do you think about the taste on this one?
Yeah, I definitely remember last night when we first sipped it, I thought, wow, this is very interesting, very different, very nice. I actually think it's quite bright tasting for Shiraz.
Yeah, but do you get that? I get that up front, and then it fades to those deeper, darker flavors.
Yes. Yeah, the up front is very punchy and bright, and then it sort of develops into a very deep sort of flavor.
Yes, and that's one of the things I'd like to note about this is that it actually has an evolution. We've done a bunch of reviews on here where even if we've enjoyed the wine, I just remember saying over and over, this is a great wine, but it's kind of one note. This one isn't. It really does have an evolution of that spicy punch up front, which then develops into a deep, dark fruits flavor. And then I find that on the exit, it's quite smooth. All those strong upfront notes fade away, and you end up with a slightly sweet and watery exit on the finish. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with all that. I would also add that there's a slight metallic tang on the aftertaste.
Okay.
Which possibly will drag my rating down just a touch, but overall it's very nice.
I agree. There's a hint of metallic and a bit of sour, a bit of sourness on the exit. Subtle, certainly doesn't ruin the wine or anything, but there is a hint of that on the exit. So what have you come down to with this one for a rating out of 10?
I'm a little torn between a 7.5 or an 8 personally.
Okay. Yeah. What if I said you have to pick one because I have to type it into the super?
I'm going to go with what I said last night, which is an 8. I'm going to stick to an 8. That's
fair. And for me, I was thinking that as well. But something about this, it's still great. I love it. I would buy it again, especially at the discounted price. But for me, I'm going to leave it at a 7.5, only because as good as it is, it doesn't quite stand up to some of the wines that I've rated an 8. So I know that when choosing between this and some of those, I'd probably go for those, both for value and the taste, slightly superior taste on them. So for me, a 7.5 on this one. But all in all, we're really happy with this purchase. It's been like a bit of a novelty because it tastes different to a lot of the wines we've been having, and it tastes different to most Shiraz that we've had, like from the Barossa or from here in Victoria. So it was interesting and fun, for that. So yeah, I mean, I quite like it. Would you drink this again?
I'd be very happy to drink this again.
Yeah. So that's the Cape Mentelle 16 Hectares Shiraz from 2022, and that's coming from Margaret River in Western Australia. Highly recommend it. Definitely go out and pick one up. Thanks for joining us again on The Wine Cage, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.